All right, Shalom, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem Rakakadash. I want to give double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone for teaching me the truth 100% securely. And I'd like to give a salutation to the Akim and Aqua who are listening and studying to show thyself approved. This your brother Bayan from the Tulsa, Oklahoma, Hebrew Delight Camp, coming back to you with another quick lesson. And this pretty much just a response to my Octay Yasharala, who did a beautiful lesson. All right, so definitely go check this lesson out. What it's called, the power of knowing your enemy. All right, subscribe if you haven't already, and definitely watch this lesson and be edified. Okay, and so it's pretty much a lot to unpack, and I got a whole list of precepts that I have in my notes on the next page. Right, so I got a list of precepts, and I'm gonna go through them in no particular order. But I just wanted to, kind of piggyback off of some of the stuff that my aunt Teyacho went into. All right, and so it is very important to know who your enemies are. All right, Esau Edom, the so-called white man, is your enemy. Okay, and that's pretty much what this video was going into. You got this Jake. Just pretty much a Jake who was very lucky that he was able to walk out of that town, okay? And, Esau Edom is being exposed on every side, okay? But he was in a town which it was called a sundown town. There's a history behind that, okay? Which I've done several lessons on that, okay? I believe I titled one of my lessons I titled was Sundown Town, and there was a book by Jane W. Lowens. Okay, so actually I'm gonna read one of the chapters in that very book. Okay, and there was another I've done probably about 3 or 4 lessons on my page that I've done based on Sundown Town. Cause there was another lesson that I've done where it was sometime last year, and there was this Jake that actually got killed, okay, in the Mississippi area, and he was basically on a job that allowed him to travel. And the mom, it was on the news, and the mom basically saying that it was unlike for her son to, not call her, because they always talked every day, and trying to find out these devils basically cut this Jake up in Mississippi. They basically just found body parts. They didn't find his body, they found body parts. Okay, so this was in the area of Mississippi. And then there's another lesson that I've done, which is kind of recent. I think I called it I think I titled that lesson "What It Looked Like Not Knowing." Well, what lack of knowledge looked like. I think that's what I called it. And there was this a lady that basically was working at FedEx, and she talked about her experience going into a sundown town. Okay, because she was in an all-white town, and she saw how these Edomites was looking at her. Okay, and so that's just why it's important to know who your enemies are. Okay, Esau Edom, the so-called white man, is your enemy. Okay, so I'm gonna play a little bit of this, but before I do that, I gotta read this chapter. Okay, matter of fact, let's get one quick precept. Let me pull up the rest of my Bible, Salakia. With the act you went into, he read. I'm gonna leave this chapter up. I'm gonna come back to this one. My Ate Yasharala read Psalms 83, okay? And if you know, Psalms 83 actually tells you who your enemies are, okay? But the point would be in verse 3, because this is what I wanted to bring out was verse 3. But we'll start at the top on Psalms, the 83rd chapter, okay? So Psalm chapter 83. All right, so we'll start at the top, and it said, "Keep not thou silent, O power, hold not thy peace, and be not still, O power. For lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head." Okay, in verse 3, and it said, "They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones." All right, so I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to read this verse again. All right. It said they have taken crafty counsel against thy people. And thy people is talking about the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. You are indeed the true biblical Hebrew Israelite that the Bible speak of. Okay, all right. We were the only people that was under that actually received the curse for following the laws and statute commandment of the Habashim Yahushua. Salaki that received the blessings of following the laws and statute commandment of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, and we also received the curses of disobeying the laws and statute commandments of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. So the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American, we are the biblical Hebrew Israelite, okay? And we have enemies, okay? And so right here in verse 3, when it said, they have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden one. And read this in NLT. And it said, they devise crafty schemes against thy people. They conspire against thy precious ones. All right. And so that will bring me to this very chapter. Okay. This is the book. Let me see if I can pull up the title of it. I'm going to come back to this. Oh, right here. It's at the top. It says Sundown Town. Right here. Sundown Town, a hidden dimension of American racism by James W. Lowen. All right. And so this is the title of that book, and this is chapter 3, which is called The Great Retreat. All right. And it says, and this is a subtitle of the very chapter right here, which it was a quote. And it might be an old Negroes newsletter, what it sounds like, okay, what it looked like right here. So it said, in spite of the fact that the total Negro population in Indiana showed a 5-fold increase between 1860 and 1900. Some parts of the state showed little or no increase, while there was actually a decline in some places. In some instances, this was due to deliberate anti-Negro policy. All right? Right here, this was due to the deliberate anti-Negro policy. Okay, so when you go back and you read Psalms 83 and 3, they devise crafty schemes against thy people. They conspire against thy precious ones. Right here. See, this is going into the policy of Esau Edom, the so-called white man. Okay. All right, so reading this again, it says, in some instance, this was due to the deliberate anti-Negro policy. Some communities gained a reputation for being so hostile that no Negro dared to step overnight in them. And it says, Amalu Thornborough, the Negro in Indiana, okay? All right, so reading on in this very chapter, it said, during the Nadar deliberate policy, formal and informal, created America's most complete form of residential segregation, the complete exclusion of African American and sometimes other group from entire communities as part of the deepening racism that swept through the United States after 1890. Town after town outside the traditional South became intentionally all white. Okay? This happened in 2 waves. First, an epidemic of attack against Chinese Americans across the West prompted what I call the Chinese retreat. Okay, so this is why to this day where you have things called Chinatown, because Esau Edom so-called white man. All right, resulting in the concentration of that minority in Chinatowns in Seattle, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and a few other cities. Then whites began forcing African Americans out of town in rural areas across the North. This resulted in what I hope becomes the generally recognized as the Great Retreat, the withdrawal of African Americans from towns and countries across the United States to black ghettos in large northern cities. Okay? And it says, acting to be all white, and it said how a problem is formulated influence how it gets thought about and what qualifies as a solution. After 1890, as we have seen, most whites no longer viewed slavery and racism as the problem. Slavery was over after all. The racial discrimination had been made illegal under the 14th and the 15th Amendment. Now African Americans themselves were seen as the problem by white Northerners as well as Southerners. Outside of the traditional South, few whites now argue that their towns should be interracial, as Republicans had done during Reconstruction. White now ache to be rid of their African American. The editor of the Cairo Bulletin summarized the feeling of white resident of Cairo at the southern tip of Illinois in 1920. Okay, remember 1920 is when the Tulsa race riot took place as well too. Okay. Let me see if I can get a little bit more. I'm gonna fast forward to this, but there was other points in this book where it talked about how the town mayor and the city sheriff had a whole lot to do with these sundown towns. They had a lot to, because they basically got these towns formulated, and they allowed white to they allow an all-white town, pretty much. Okay, so that's pretty much the point that I wanted to bring out. But in this book, it breaks all of this down. I can't remember exactly what chapter it was where the mayors and the county sheriff of these towns had helped to run off the so-called Negroes and, Latinos and Native Americans, basically formulating a sundown town. So I wanted to bring that out to go into the history of these sundown towns, okay? Because these Esau Edom, the so-called white man, he's a devil, okay? And so, real quick, let's go play. So we already broke that part down from Psalms 83 and 3, all right? Bear with me for a minute. All right, so real quick, we're going to play a little bit of Octay Yasharada's lesson real quick, all right? So bear with me.
Online outrage has turned on the nearby Firehouse Saloon, but News 4 Fox 11 confirmed the Millers do not own that business. Rather, they are the landlords. They own this green building, which includes the businesses next door. Story County Sheriff Michael Cullen called it horrible and says the case has been forwarded to the district attorney's office for possible prosecution.
It's just appalling that these kind of things are still happening, in the country, and that people act this way sometimes. But in order to be fair, we're trying to.
All right, and this is another thing. What he said, people act this way sometimes. Remember, in that very video, that very book that I just got to read, when you actually look up sundown towns, we know that the mayor, the county mayor, and the sheriff's department, they all in cahoots with each other. So when he say people act this way sometimes, he's involved in this shit too. All right, so don't be fooled.
Everybody's point of view and all the witnesses and make sure we cover all of our bases.
Sheriff Cullen says his office has been fielding hundreds of calls, social media posts, and had direct threats to his office, local business owners, and residents. Johnson wants charges filed.
I want everyone that have anything to do with racism, they need to have some kind of charges brought with them or something. Something has to be done, but this got to stop.
In Virginia City.
All right, and so here's another thing right here, and this is why. This is why it's beautiful that I put this lesson out, because it said the power of knowing your enemies. This Jake did not know his enemies. He was under the impression that racism was over, and really racism has never left. All they did was just put a veil over it and made you believe that racism was over. And matter of fact, they put a veil over to made you believe that slavery did not exist. Okay, they have a thing what you call modern day slavery, which is the jailhouse. Okay, so that law that they had in place, which is still under the laws of Esau Edom, it's still under the laws. Okay, Talaki, bear with me for a minute. All right, Talaki for that, man. I always got some kind of distraction every time I try to get these lessons. But anyway. I kind of lost my. Let me go back for a little bit. Salakia.
Check out the clip. Whether or not a crime occurred here on.
Hold on.
Michael Cullen called it horrible and says the case has been forwarded to the district attorney's office for possible prosecution.
On the Trump rallies, with Trump getting in office. So that's why they...
Okay, hold on. Salakia.
They are the landlords. They They own this green building, which includes the businesses next door. Story County Sheriff Michael Cullen called it horrible and says the case has been forwarded to the district attorney's office for possible prosecution.
It's just appalling that these kind of things are still happening, in the country, and that people act this way sometimes. But in order to be fair, we're trying to get everybody's point of view and all the witnesses and make sure we cover all of our bases.
Sheriff Cullen says his office has been fielding hundreds of calls, social media posts, and had direct threats to his office, local business owners, and residents. Johnson wants charges filed.
I want everyone that have anything to do with racism, they need to have some kind of charges brought with them.
Yeah, that's just a call all y'all about to me outside. That's what I was getting at. So the Esau Edom still have that law in place where you're 3/5 of a human law, 3/5 of a human being. Because through slavery, that's what they in their mind. That's what they had. They had a policy called you 3/5 of a human being. So when they abolished slavery, quote unquote, said that slavery was over with, they basically said they put a veil over that law. They never done away with that law. So they basically said that you're no longer 3/5 of a human being until you commit a crime. Hence why you have the modern day slave through the jail system. Okay. And so that's another thing that you got to think about, that these devils have always had a perpetual hatred. And another thing to think about is that Esau Edom is a weak and base man. Okay. Because this Jake right here, not only did he lack knowledge, but he didn't have that manly spirit about him, okay? Whether Christianity that made him docile or whatever, believing that everybody is equal, everybody is the same, all of that lion wasn't in him. So Esau Edom saw him as an easy target, okay? And that's another thing. This is why I say Esau Edom, so-called white man, they're a weak and base man, because they know who to go after. I remember seeing another video where it was these young Jake that were walking across the street, and they were calling them little niggas, right? And so that's another example on how they show how weak the men of Esau Edom, these so-called white men, they're weak nature. They ain't shit without their gun. They can't fight, okay? So they some weak and bitch ass niggas. Excuse my French, but they weak, okay? And so they pick and choose the weakest one out of Yasharala. Okay, they going after the woman. All right, they always go after the woman, showing you how much weak they are. So real quick, let's get this Genesis chapter 25, because I had that on the list as well, right? So let's get that. Because it basically, it's been like this from the beginning. Okay, even when Yahweh Shah had Jacob and Esau in the womb of Rebecca, all right, and it was the same thing back then. Okay, so when you go to Genesis chapter 25 and 23, matter of fact, we start at verse 22, Salakia. Okay, yeah, verse 22. Okay, it said Genesis 25 and 22, and it said the children struggled together within her. All right, going back to the very beginning, Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, and Jacob, Yasharala. Okay, we always had beef with one another. Okay, even from the womb. All right, because right here it said the children struggled together within her, meaning these were the twins that were fighting within the womb of Rebecca. And she said right here, reading on, it said, and she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord. All right, so at this time they went to a prophet. In verse 23, and it said that the Lord Yahweh said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb. Okay, showing you that these 2 nations is what we're dealing with to the very same day. Okay, just like Apostle Paul said, there's one vessel of dishonor and there's a vessel for honor. Okay, and we already know who that vessel of dishonor right here, because when you read on in chapter, and it said, 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels, and the one shall be stronger than the other. Okay, and that one is stronger than the other is Yasharala, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American. This is how you know we are the one that's stronger, because we dominate every sport. Okay, we create societies. We're the reason why society is thriving to this day due to our inventions while we was in slavery. Okay. Everything that we use to this day was based on our creation. Okay. Showing you that Esau, Edom, you know, they need us to survive. All right. So this is what it's talking about. And it says, one people shall be stronger than the other, and the elders shall serve the younger. Okay? So we're definitely stronger, but Esau Edom show how weak he is because he knows who to pick and choose. He pick on little boys. Okay? That's why they have a policy attacking the children with that alphabet agenda. Okay? It's why they have a policy attacking a woman, trying to get the woman to turn against her man. Okay? So all of these things is showing you the weak nature of Esau Edom, the so-called white man, all right? And so when you go back to the video, this guy right here, he basically lacked knowledge and the scriptures, he lacked knowledge of the scriptures, and he basically, if he had known the scriptures, he first and foremost, he wouldn't have went into that town, just like the Ark mentioned in his lesson. He wouldn't have went to that town. And if he did go into that town, he would have girded up himself like a man. What's that? What I got that precept? Which one is that? Job. Let's get it. Job chapter 38 and verse 3. And this is what Yahweh Shah said told Job to do when he was being afflicted. Okay? Right here, see, even at the top, we're going to start at the point is verse 3, but we're going to start at the top, because right here, you see, you got it highlighted. I'm going to try to highlight it. And it says, Yahweh speak now to Job, okay? And in the NLT, it said, the Lord Yahweh shall challenge Job. All right, so when Yahweh shall challenge Job, what did he tell him? All right, verse 1, Job 38:1, it said, then the Lord Yahweh shall answer Job out of the whirlwind and said, who is this that darkened the counsel by words without knowledge? Okay? And it said in verse 3, gird up now thy loins like a man, for I will demand of thee, and in an answer thou me. Okay? And so, right here in verse 3, read the same verse in verse 3 in the NLT. It says, brace yourself like a man, because I have some questions for you, and you must answer them. Right? And so this is the scripture. This is what Yahweh Shah. If you a man of the Lord, you come to serve Yahweh Shah. You got to answer to Yahweh Shah. And the first thing you do to answer, you got to gird up yourself like a man. Okay, and that's another thing. So once you do that, Esau Edom will recognize that, and they'll think twice to challenge you. All right. And this is why this Jake got challenged, because they recognize the weak nature in him. Okay, they recognize that he don't have the covering of Yahweh Shah. This is why they treated him the way that they did in their own weak ass sundown town. Okay, so that's another thing that I wanted to mention. All right, and let's play a little bit more of this video that I had right here real quick.
They need to have some kind of charges brought with them or something. Something has to be done, but this got to stop.
In Virginia City, Ben Marjot reporting.
They all be in jail. And see, the only reason Esau's doing something about it is because they got caught, and it's revealing them. That's Jeremiah.
That's it right there, because they got caught. That's another thing. All right.
49 and 10. You know, Esau's been made bare. So they like, God dang, dude, you messing it up for us, man. Don't be telling them we want to lynch them right now. We're gonna lynch them, you know, during the Trump rallies. You know, when Trump get in office. So that's why that sheriff was mad. That's the only reason charges are being pressed.
And that's exactly what I was basically saying earlier, right? So, because that sheriff was a part, the sheriff and the mayor, going into the history, they are a part of the reason why their sundown towns existed, because they the ones that set up those policies, and they basically put those back those policies out about actions. Okay, if you go into that book, and you'll see that they had advertisement and bulletin boards saying stuff like there is no Negroes in this town. Okay, they was advertising this shit, man. You know, they had shit like postage stamps. Okay, when you got stamped, they had stamps of our people being hanged from trees. Okay, this is how diabolical these devils are, and now they're being exposed. Okay. And this is why when I did this lesson, he said, you know, the power of knowing who your enemies are. When you know who your enemies are, you won't fall for the bullshit. Okay? So this is let's get that Jeremiah 49:10, because I quoted it in this lesson. I'm gonna go ahead and read it. And so that's why he was saying that sheriff was mad, because that Edomite, he helped expose their wicked, and that he helped expose them. He helped expose the fact that there's still sundown town in America. Okay, all throughout America. Okay, so this is Jeremiah chapter 49, and it said verse 10. And it said, but I have made Esau bare. All right. As a matter of fact, when you get that word, the definition for that word bare, and it said, of a person or part of the body not clothed or covered. Okay. And it says uncover, without addition, basic and simple, uncover a body part. And it says, and it's exposed to a view right here. And it's uncover, verb definition of a part of the body or other thing. See? And it said, and expose it to view. So for a long time, nobody knew about these sundown towns. Okay? But now they know. All right? So this is why Yahweh Shem Yahushua is working on our behalf. He's exposing these devils for who they are. Okay? He's letting you know who your enemies are. All right? So Jeremiah 49:10 again from the top. He said, but I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places. Those secret places is the sundown town. And he shall not be able to hide himself. That's why that thing went viral. All right? His seed is spoiled, and his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not. Okay? And we're talking about his seed is spoiled, and his brethren and his neighbor, but he is not. That he is not is going into the elite bankers. Okay? Because they are the upper echelon. All right? What's been exposed is the lower levels of the Edomite. Okay? The poor of their own family. That's who's been exposed. Okay? And you get precepts on that. Quite a few of them. Let's get Malachi 1:4, and it says, whereas Edom says we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Okay, going right back into their book. We will return and build the desolate places. What did they do? Those places that Yahweh Shem Yahushua was talking about, is those sundown towns. They returned and rebuilt them places to their likeness. Okay. Now reading on, it said, thus said the Lord Yahweh of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down. Okay. Now you seeing that their business got closed down. This is Yahweh Shem Yahushua's work right here. Okay. They shall build, but I will throw down. And they shall call them the border of wickedness, the people against whom the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua had indignation forever. Okay, so now they're being exposed to the point where Esau Edom, they're losing their businesses. That one little incident that just happened, they lost their business. Okay, and so now I played another video in that very lesson where a woman was saying that the company is talking about not doing business with the whole town. All right. And so now you got that. So Esau Edom being made bare. Now they're going to become even more poor. Now they're not going to be able to make any more money. And so you know what's going to come next. All right. Revelation 12:12. They come down and have them great wrath, because they know that they got but a short time. They know that they about to be poor to the point where they're not going to be able to survive, man. All right. So they got to they gotta come down with their great wrath. They're gonna have it. It's gonna happen, man. This is why you're gonna have these race riots, man. Okay, so you know there's that right there. All right, let's see what else I got, and we can go ahead and close this thing out, man. We got two more precepts and we'll close it out, which is Ezekiel chapter 35, and we'll start at verse 1 on that one too. Okay, you know, Lord willing, this is edifying, man. So this is just a response to the Teyatarala's lesson right here, man. Knowing who your enemies are. Esau Edom, so-called white man, is your enemy. Okay? You gotta know how they're gonna come at you. You gotta know that these devils, you know, they try to speak sweetly, you know. That's why when the Ak mentioned, like, you know, he was mad about how that dude got him exposed, because they would, you know, that sheriff, he probably came with that. Matter of fact, let's get that. Before I read this, let's get that Psalm 55 and 21. That's the precept to Sirach 12 and 10. Let's get it real quick. Because this is how the sheriff wanted to come about. But that Edomite, who pretty much, you know, fucked everything up for their whole town, he got them exposed. But the sheriff, he wanted to come like this. That way he can hang that Jake. All right, so this is Psalm 55 and 21. And it says, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. Okay, so that sheriff, he was going to allow him to be hanged. Okay, as long as if he was still in that town when the sun came down, he was going to allow that shit. Okay, you know, and that's how they move in this day and time. They come as they try to be your friend. Matter of fact, let's get the precept. Sirach 12 and 16. Okay, and it says, an enemy speaks sweetly with his lip, but in his heart he imagined how to throw thee into a pit. Okay, what did that Edomite tell that Jake? All right, there's a tree with your name on it back there. You see? And it says, he will weep with his eyes, but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood. Okay, and in verse 17, and it said, if adversity come upon them, thou shalt find him there first. And though he pretend to help thee, yet he shall undermine thee. You see that? In verse 18, he will shake his head and clap his hand and whisper much and change his countenance. Okay, that's when that goes to that old school song where it says, smiley faces. Smiley faces tell lies. Yeah, that's that old school song right there. That don't tell the truth. All right, so that's how Esau Edom come at you, man. All right, so you know that's one of the devices that you got to recognize with these damn devils, man. They'll smile in your face, and then when they find an opportunity, they're not gonna be satisfied with blood. Okay, and the reason why is because they're gonna try to take your inheritance. Okay. So let's get this Ezekiel chapter 35 and 1. And this is why that's why we tell you, Esau Edom, so-called white man, your kingdom is going to fall. America is going to be destroyed. Okay? It said, moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir, and prophesied against it. Mount Seir, the Esau Edom, so-called white man. You read Genesis, the 38th chapter, and about the 6th verse, I believe, or 38 and 38. All right, I could be wrong. What is this? 36 and 38. It's one of those verses. In verse 3, and it said, and say unto it, thus saith the Lord power, behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out my hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. And see that? It's happening right now. That's exactly what happened. All right, that's why this moment went viral, because these devils, they losing their kingdom, they losing the narrative. All right, they don't have control of the media. Okay, Yahweh y'all working on our behalf, man. Verse 4, I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord Yahweh Yahushua. And here is why their kingdom about to fall. Verse 5, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, and in the time of their iniquity had an end. Verse 6, therefore as I live, said the Lord Yahweh power, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Sit thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. Okay? And so that's another precept. And let's get this 2nd Ezra 15 and verse 10. Okay? So this is why when you have lack of knowledge, okay? Because that Jake, what is his name? Uncle Uncle Ricky or something like that. When this a lot of the Jake, they're gonna have that same mindset, thinking that Esau Edom, the so-called white man, is your friend. Not all white people is like that. Just like the Aqua was saying in his blessing, man. Not all white people is like that. Okay, you keep thinking that way, man. 2nd Ezra 15:10. Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. Okay? This is why. Why they led it as a flock to the slaughter? Because they don't know who their enemies are. Hosea 4:6. My people perish for lack of knowledge. All right? And it said, and reading on, it says, and I would not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt. Verse 11, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm and smite Egypt with plague as before, and I will destroy all the land thereof. Verse 12, Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague punishment that Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua shall bring upon it. Okay, so eventually, when you see in that small town, they're losing all their revenue. They lost their number one source of revenue. That's going to happen all around America, okay? And this is what Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua is doing. He's working on our behalf, man, okay? So, that was pretty much all the precept that I pretty much had, okay? And so we'll end this off with 2 more precepts, because there's another thing where when we just read in Ezekiel 35:6, because he said, therefore, as I live, said the Lord Yahweh power, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Sit thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. Okay, so this is talking about Esau Edom, the so-called white man, because that's gonna be our reparation. So when you go into Numbers chapter 35 and 33, okay, this is what Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua promised us. Okay, after our punishment is over, the only way we'll get any true reparation is by the blood of Esau Edom, the blood of him that shed our blood. So this is Numbers 35:3. So shall ye not pollute the land where ye are, for blood is defiled the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. Okay, all through this very land, who shed the so-called Native American blood on this land. Okay, so therefore their blood have to be shed in order for this whole mess, this all the history that they done to our people. In order for there to be a straight cleanse, we got to shed their blood. Okay, reading Revelation 13:10. Okay, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that kill with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the faith and the patience of the saints. All right, and so we're in this off. Lord willing, this is edifying. Let's get 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and verse 9. Okay, because this is exactly what we're seeing. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Right, and that's exactly what we're seeing. And Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua working on our behalf in the Esau Edom world, and he preparing us for Jacob, right, at the beginning of it as the follow. He preparing us to rule this world in righteousness. That will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Okay, Lord willing, we'll be a part of that number to rule this earth in righteousness. Okay, so Lord willing, this is edifying. And with that, let me give all praise and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Kakadash. I want to give double honor to the apostles and elders of the Great Millstone for teaching me the truth 100% securely. Shalom, shalom, Kwam Yasharala. Shalom.